Well, I would say the single biggest advantage that the person passing guard has over the person who's working from guard is that the top person always gets to choose when and where you engage with the opponent. I have a huge mobility advantage. I'm in top position. Your opponent is either sitting on his butt or, even worse, lying on his back. One of our big things is we like to put them on their back first. Why? Because someone on their back in a supine position has no ability to engage with you. You get 100% of the choice now as to whether you engage or not. So whenever we go to approach an opponent, they're always looking to put them down into a supine position. Okay, the minute you put them into a supine position, you are now 100% in control of whether you want to engage or disengage. If you ever feel that things aren't going your way in the engagement, you can always just peel out, walk away, and disengage. When he's resisting strongly the idea of being put down, and you cannot get him down to a supine position, this can only be done at the price of waist exposure. The opponent's hips becomes put into a situation where now you can attack your training partner's hips. Okay, and we're going to spend a lot of time in this video with the idea that if we can't enforce a supine situation, then we'll attack our opponent at the hips. Okay, you can attack with your arms, or you can attack with your legs and go through into knee cuts. Once you put someone into a supine position, we want to start with the idea of gaining some kind of advantage and the idea of negating our opponent's ability to attack us. The watchword we'll be using throughout this video is first negate, everything else second. When we go to approach an opponent, we never want to give them, as it were, the initiative to go into our legs. We always want to create situations where we tie up their ability to engage with us. On a supine opponent, this will mostly be balanced with the idea of controlling our opponent's feet and getting his feet away from us so that we gain some kind of advantage over him. On a seated opponent, it's mostly bound up to the idea of controlling our training partner's hands so that when he tries to make effective contact with us, it's very, very difficult as long as we're controlling the hands. Once you've negated your opponent's ability to make effective contact with you, then you want to use your stance to shut down his ability to attack you. So when someone hooks into our feet, we'll be looking at ways in which we use stance, the use of our legs, to shut down the value of his hooks. Okay, if I'm naive in the way I stand, I can be taken out of balance. We can use stance to shut down their body attack. If I'm weak with my stance, I can be taken over and flipped around very, very easily from here. But if I position my body in particular kinds of ways, when he goes to use these positions, it's very, very hard for him. Then it comes down to the idea of putting your opponent in a situation where he is constantly reacting to what you're doing. So if we have a supine opponent, as long as I'm positioned in front of him, this guy can attack me. But if I create situations where I'm out here, now he's 100% defensive. Okay, he's reacting to what I'm doing. In situations like this, we can either pass directly, or if I see him bringing his leg over, for example, then from here we can pass indirectly on the opposite side. Then finally, we ask ourselves a simple question. Are we getting the breakthrough? If you feel you're getting the breakthrough, continue with the sequence until it comes to completion and you pass your opponent's guard. If you cannot control events and your opponent is now starting to counterattack you successfully, break contact. Remember, you're in control of whether you engage or not. If you're on the losing end of exchanges, get the fuck out of there. Okay, come back in and attack later. Start to use time as a weapon, where you go in and engage. When it's favorable, keep the engagement going. When it's unfavorable, back away, and then come back in on your own terms.